The Galactic Empire had encountered thousands of civilizations across the cosmos. Some surrendered, others fought and fell. None had ever posed a true threat. When their probes identified Earth, a solitary blue world circling an unremarkable sun, the verdict was unanimous. Another primitive species awaiting subjugation. Admiral Zarn reclined in his command throne aboard the Invictus, the Empire's most formidable dreadnought, surveying the holographic display before him. A faint smirk played across his lips as he examined the crude defenses of the so-called United States of America, the dominant power among Earth's fragmented nations. Their satellites were obsolete, their weapons archaic. Against his armada, they might as well have been wielding sticks and stones. A communication request flickered onto his screen. He allowed it. Amusement, after all, was a privilege of the powerful. The screen resolved into the stern visage of Earth's leader, the President of the United States. A woman of sharp eyes and a steady gaze. She showed no fear. "This is your final warning," she said, her voice level, unyielding. "Turn your fleet around and leave our system. There will be no second chances." Zarn chuckled, glancing at his bridge officers. "Is this a threat?" "It's a statement of fact." Laughter rippled through the command deck. Earth's arrogance was almost endearing. Zarn leaned forward, feigning interest. "Tell me, Madam President, what exactly do you intend to do? Throw nuclear weapons at my fleet? Fire your little metal slugs into our shields?" He gestured broadly. "We have crushed empires that spanned thousands of years. What makes you believe you are different?" The president's expression didn't change. "Because we are..." And with that, the transmission cut. Zarn exhaled in mild disappointment. Theatrics aside, Earth would fold like all the others. He turned to his second-in-command, General Kaler, a veteran officer whose reptilian features remained impassive. "Prepare the fleet," Zarn ordered. "Let's teach these humans their place." Kaler hesitated. "Sir, intelligence reports indicate anomalous energy readings on the planet's surface. Their technology may be..." "Enough." Zarn's voice cut through the murmurs on the bridge. "This species has barely left its own planet. They are nothing." The bridge fell silent as the Invictus led the armada forward. The Empire's warships, numbering in the hundreds, formed an iron wall around Earth, eclipsing its moon. Dropships descended toward the surface, escorted by squadrons of Imperial fighters. The conquest had begun. On the ground, humanity braced itself. The sky above Earth darkened as the Imperial fleet moved into position, blotting out the sun with the sheer mass of warships. Civilians stared in horror, watching the alien armada descend with mechanical precision. The world held its breath. But deep beneath the surface, in fortified command bunkers, America had already moved beyond fear. General Ethan Caldwell, Supreme Commander of Earth's Defense Forces, stood at the heart of an underground control center, eyes locked on the massive holographic map displaying incoming enemy trajectories. Around him, analysts worked with machine-like efficiency, calculating attack vectors, coordinating hidden defenses. "Enemy forces breaking the stratosphere," an officer reported. Caldwell gave a slow nod. "Deploy Aegis Protocol. Make them regret ever coming here." At first, nothing seemed to happen. The invading fleet held formation, their commanders awaiting resistance, likely expecting missile silos to open or aircraft to scramble. But there were no warplanes, no rockets, no counterattack. It was as if Earth had surrendered. Admiral Zarn sneered at the lack of response. "Pathetic," he muttered. "All ships, prepare for orbital bombardment." Then the storm came. Without warning, an unseen force detonated through the enemy ranks. It was not an explosion in the conventional sense, no fire, no debris. Instead, entire vessels blinked out of existence, their massive forms collapsing into pinpricks of light before vanishing entirely. Zarn bolted to his feet. "Report. What's happening?" No one had an answer. One by one, ships disintegrated, their molecular structures unraveling as invisible waves of devastation swept through the fleet. A shimmering barrier, unseen moments before, now encased Earth. Where the Empire's fighters crossed its edge, they flickered violently and ceased to be. Impossible, General Kaler whispered. They have a planetary disruption field. The truth was worse. Project Aegis was not a shield. It was a weapon, a culmination of decades of scientific advancements hidden from the galaxy. The anomaly readings Kaler had dismissed earlier, they had been the gravitational distortions of Earth's experimental quantum warheads. The moment the invasion began, Earth's AI-controlled defense systems activated, harnessing small-scale singularities, localized black holes, to collapse enemy vessels at an atomic level. Panic surged through the Imperial ranks. Destroyers attempted evasive maneuvers, only to find their controls unresponsive. Some ships tried to reverse course, but the field expanded, swallowing them whole. The Invictus shook violently, warning sirens blaring. Zarn slammed his fists against the command console. Find me a way out of this. No use, Admiral, Kaler said grimly, his composure cracked. We're caught in a containment matrix. They're guiding us to our deaths. The realization hit like a death knell. Earth wasn't merely defending itself. It was executing them. The slaughter was clinical, unstoppable, and entirely one-sided. Zarn's lips curled back in fury. We came to conquer this world, he hissed. Instead, we walked into an execution. For the first time in his career, he knew what it meant to fear. The wreckage of the Imperial Armada drifted silently in orbit, a graveyard of twisted metal and sundered hulls. Smoke and debris spiraled aimlessly, remnants of a force that had once darkened Earth's skies with its imposing might. Now, they were nothing more than echoes of arrogance, proof that humanity was no one's prey. In the underground command bunker, General Ethan Caldwell watched the devastation unfold on his display screen. The battle, if it could even be called that, had ended in minutes. The Galactic Empire's finest fleet, reduced to cosmic scrap without a single human casualty. A cold certainty settled over him. We just told the galaxy who we are, he murmured. A junior officer hesitated. Sir, should we issue a formal statement? Caldwell considered it, then shook his head. No need. The message has already been delivered. Across the solar system, countless eyes now turned toward Earth. Not just those of the Empire, whose surviving outposts had received garbled distress signals before silence fell, but of other interstellar civilizations, some unknown even to the Empire itself. In the endless void beyond, new forces now whispered Earth's name, unsure whether to fear or revere the planet that had turned an invasion into a massacre. Yet, amidst the destruction, there was one survivor. Admiral Zarn awoke to steel restraints biting into his wrists. He was in a dimly lit chamber, the air thick with Earth's oxygen-rich atmosphere. Harsh overhead lights cast sterile illumination on his surroundings. His body ached, the weight of gravity pressing down heavier than he was used to, Earth's gravity. He was on the planet, captured, his pupils adjusted, focusing on the figure standing before him. President Alexandra Monroe regarded him with quiet intensity. No guards flanked her. No weapons were drawn. She did not need them. The power she commanded had already brought the might of the Galactic Empire to its knees. Zarn exhaled sharply, straightening in his chair as much as his bindings allowed. You could have destroyed me along with my fleet. His voice was hoarse, his throat dry. Why keep me alive? To send a message. Monroe's tone was composed, but there was steel beneath it. You underestimated us. Your empire believed it could waltz into our system and claim dominion without consequence. She leaned forward, her shadow stretching over him. You were wrong. A smirk flickered across Zarn's face, though it didn't reach his eyes. You believe this victory will deter my people? No, Monroe said simply. I believe it will terrify them. She let the words hang in the air. Zarn's expression faltered. He had witnessed firsthand what these humans were capable of. Not mere warriors, not rebellious primitives. They were something else entirely. Predators. He swallowed hard, the weight of realization sinking in. What are you? He whispered. Monroe turned for the door, her answer cold, absolute. The future, and across the stars, the galaxy took notice.